Okay, so you've got a product, you've gotten it developed because you've gotten in with the University of Pennsylvania and their nanotech, and you're getting mentored by some of the scientists over there. Now you decide you're going to get on Shark Tank. You've reached out, you've gotten in touch with Mark Cuban, he's gotten you in touch with Shark Tank. I'm just curious, give me a little bit of behind the scenes. What's it like going through the process of getting on Shark Tank and pitching on TV?
It's hard. It's not easy. I originally reached out to Mark, and I mentioned in a follow-up email in one of his responses that I was interested in going on the show because it was a lifelong dream of mine growing up. And he immediately put me in touch with the producers, the casting producers. But I really wasn't ready to go on the show, which was a blessing in disguise. So I actually waited for about 4 years until we were truly ready as a company to go on there, and even then we weren't ready. Um, you're never really ready.
You're never ready, right?
No. But so eventually 4 years later, I did reach out finally, and I kept in touch with the producers so they knew that my application was going to be coming in. I applied, and it's a really brutal process. I mean, they mentioned that they have, at least my year, it was 40,000 applications, and only 150 people are invited to film. So it's incredibly difficult to get on. And out of the 150 that film, only 90 of those air.
Right.
So it's not like everyone even gets to, even if you're there and you film, there's no guarantee. And they tell you, they happen to remind you every single time and every single moment that they have the chance to, that there's no guarantee of airing.
Yeah.
So it was difficult. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't something that I anticipated having to do so much work for. But I'm glad that it happened because it really did change the life of my entire company.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to kind of zone in and hone in a little bit more on that thought here, David. And of course, listen, if you want to know more about David's company and his product, you definitely want to go to DetraPel.com. Links below. You definitely want to watch what David's doing on LinkedIn as well, because just a great place to connect with experts like David. So I want to lean in a little bit more to your experience on Shark Tank. You've managed to get in there because you've just kept mentoring and connecting the dots all the way to the top here. What,
Yep.
what was it? What was a key moment when you're pitching? Because I'll be honest, I feel like someone who's not experienced in the whole venture capital and fundraising, you're sitting in front of five of the best TV cameras, lights, you're sweating and all that. What was a key moment where you felt that the deal maybe could have gotten away from you, but you were able to pull it and keep the clout yourself? How were you able to pull that off?
Yeah, there are two main moments that I recall. One moment was actually pre-airing or pre-filming. You have to do a dry run in front of all the producers the first or second day that you get there. And there are 150 producers, which I had
Whoa.
I had no idea that's how many people are working on the show in the background, in the behind the scenes. And so I did this pitch, and at that point, this is my sophomore year in college. Um, at this point, I've won, multiple pitch competitions for real money. I've done probably hundreds of different pitches in competitions, probably thousands in regular pitches. So, and public speaking and mentoring is something that I love to do. So this wasn't news to me, uh, and it was certainly not the biggest crowd, but it was probably one of the most important crowds at that time. And I completely blanked right after the second line, which was my name. So I I forgot my entire pitch. I forgot everything. Majority of the show is not scripted. Only the first portion when you walk in, it's all structured the same. Where when you say hello, my name is this. I'm looking for X in exchange for Y. That's usually the same structure. But even then, it's technically not scripted. Um, and so that one part that I had to remember was the part that I completely blanked out and forgot the entire pitch. So I was really scared at that point because, again, they tell you there's no guarantee that you will ever air or even get to the filming. So this is right before filming, the day before, 2 days before. So I was freaking out a little bit. Then the second time was right before I got into the studio to film. They actually bring you in to double check to make sure your booth looks nice and how you want it to. And that was kind of the moment where I actually saw the sharks just sitting there on their phones and doing whatever the hell they were doing. And that to me was super surreal because I was like, these are celebrities in my mind. These are, TV personalities, some of the greatest investors, like you said, that people are aware of. And I'm over here freaking out. These people are just on their email casually. So I just did a couple jumping jacks and just walked in right after that. And that seemed to work. I just put a smile on and I was able to knock the entire pitch out, didn't have a single stumble. It was probably one of the better pitches I've ever done. And during the pitch, there was a point in time where I got asked about IP. Uh, and at the time, my IP answer, looking back at it, could have been a lot stronger. I specifically got asked about, whether or not we want to file a patent. Um, and I didn't know. I was honest with the answer. I said I don't really know if we want to, because the reality is, with a chemical patent, you have to disclose your chemical, or you can do an application or a process patent and how we make it. But that's really the secret sauce.
Hmm.
And so at the time, I didn't have great legal counsel for IP that I had previously reached out to. So I didn't actually have a solid answer. And so at that point, I thought I might have lost the deal, but I didn't. And I think I was able to reel it in because I explained that the situation is a lot deeper than the surface level of, oh, you should file for a patent. Ultimately, we did file for a patent, and we have multiple now. But ironically, at the time, I was pretty gung ho that I was not going to be filing for a patent. Little did I know that there are very specific ways to be conspicuous in your filing.
Mm. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you were really smart and you were really clear on all your other answers. You knew your numbers, which is probably the most important thing. You had a good answer for the EPA compliance, the FDA testing, and the various other factors. But I mean, just thinking as a regular human being, when I'm going to be investing in someone and basically partnering up with someone, I think probably the most important quality is trust, right? Do
Oh
you
yeah.
think that being honest with your answer and clear with your answer was a part of the reason you were able to get the deal with both Mark and Lori?
Yeah, I think it was definitely a big factor of being able to win their trust and show that I was trustworthy. I also think that there's a big misunderstanding about being empathetic and being able to show that. And I think that the kind of the pinnacle of the top entrepreneurs, that when you think of the greatest entrepreneurs in the world, the one thing that they all can connect, you can connect the dots on, is that they all, when they needed to be, 'cause some of them are ruthless, but when they needed to be, they all knew how to show significant empathy.
Yeah.
And so for me, when I was honest and said, listen, I don't know the route that I want to take on the most critical question I was asked, uh, that could have really backfired in my face. But I think the reason why we were able to reel it in was just simply because it was truly the honest answer, and I wasn't trying to make up that I knew something that I didn't. I really didn't know which direction to go into, because I thought there were better options, but I was convinced otherwise. So
Yep. You had basically the perfect scenario. You had two offers from two sharks. Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you enjoyed this episode. I've got several other episodes right here for you. Smash one of these videos to make sure that you don't miss out on the tips, tools, and tactics of industry experts. Let's take that side hustle full time. Smash one of these links.